Across the globe have been taking to the streets in a worldwide rally against genetically modified food giant Monsanto. The protesters claim the GM crops it produces could be harmful to humans. Hundreds of cities across more than 60 countries are set to take part in the march. And RT's Peter Oliver is in Berlin, where preparations are well underway. Hi there, Peter. So what do Germans have to say about GM crops there?
Hello. Well, what we've seen is demonstrators all around the world, not just here in Germany, coming out to say no to genetically modified foods. People saying that they don't know the dangers that they could pose, that they aren't right for human consumption, and they've come out in, well, as you say, over 60 cities, 60 countries, I beg your pardon, around the world. Over 2 million people turned out on the streets across the globe in May of this year for a similar demonstration to find out why people are demonstrating against GM foods, why people are saying no to Monsanto. I'm joined by a few guests right now. First of all, I'm joined by Heidi Osterman, who's the founder of the True Food Foundation. Heidi, thanks very much. Monsanto said that they were pulling out of Europe. Apparently that's not the case, though, is it?
Well, Peter, it does appear that they're pulling out, but they're just regrouping in North America, and I think they're going to sneak through the back door using the new European North America trade agreement, in which case it would make a standardization of rules, therefore basically making a common denominator and making Europe lower its standards to that of the North America.
So, although most Europeans would think that the products that they're going to be buying, they're not GM foods, we've seen a crowd turning out here, of course, for that, but it could be in the future that they get in through that back door there.
That is the case, because what is happening is there's going to be a low-level presence that's introduced. So in the past, maybe 1% GMO would be acceptable to your government to import our Canadian crops or North American crops. It'll be raised to 2% and 3% and 4% as more and more crops become contaminated with GMOs. It's very hard to contain, so Europe will be receiving these products. And what's more frightening, and most Germans don't know, is that there is a Smart Stacks corn that Monsanto has made, and this is the most evolved technology ever, and it's not tested whatsoever. It is a corn that resists 6 different types of herbicides, so you can spray it with 6 different chemicals and it won't die. And it also produces 2 insecticides in its own kernels that you can't wash that off. So I don't even know if technically that's food. In my mind as a nutritionist, that's no longer food.
Well, just what those chemicals are doing to us is still something that we don't really know, and I'm joined by another guest now to talk a little bit more about that. I'm joined by Dr. Dieter Witter. Thank you.
That's correct, yeah.
What could be the potential hazards of GM food?
Genetically modified foods have been on the market for about 15 years now, and only last year we've seen the first long-term animal study from France, and I have the pictures here out of the scientific...
We're just going to bring the camera down here a little bit. So what is it that you're showing us here?
We're showing the rats that were fed these the corn that is genetically modified for their lifetime. All animal studies until then have been for 90 days only, and usually not much shows in those 90 days, even though there are subtle signs of organ damage even in 90 days. But in 2 years, the lifetime of a rat is shortened. They have massive organ damage, massive breast tumors in the female rats, and that is really, really frightening. Recently, a study from Australia has shown that pigs that are fed these corn products get massive stomach ulcers. And in North America, where a lot of people live a lot shorter life than in Europe, and the healthcare system is burdened by 17% cost of GDP, more and more people have chronic stomach upset, which I have seen in my practice. And it's probably in part to do with the genetically modified foods, which are, for the average consumer, in about 60 to 70% of the food products from the supermarket now.
How accurate compared to, so what we're seeing in the rats there, how does that transfer to what we see in humans?
Well, in humans, the effects will only not show for another 20 years because we have a much longer lifespan than a rat. So if we are waiting for cancer to show as a result of GMOs, we gotta wait. Or we should just shut this down, test these things properly.
Okay, thank you very much. A huge issue, and what we're seeing here in Berlin as well as around the world is people coming out and saying no to genetically modified foods.
No, absolutely, Peter. Thank you very much for that. Actually, there are so many young people I've just noticed. All right, Peter Oliver, Dr. Dietrich Wittel, Vice President of True Food Foundation, and Heidi Osterman, Certified Nutritionist. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you.